Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's my great pleasure to be here. Thank you very much to Rich for the no-pressure introduction. Hopefully I can share with you some insights from across the world in terms of what we've seen in IT service providers, but also in major telecom operators and enterprises to do with IT and telecommunications. So before we start, I'd like to just do a quick introduction and share with you what I want to cover today and the format. So I'd like to start off with giving you a very brief introduction, but hopefully more of an update about Telefonica and who we are. But then I'd really like to share with you some insights that I've seen from Telefonica, working with all our business units in IT and communications, but also from the past experiences at HP and other companies about IT and communications and how it's changing, and how things like cloud and mobility are real and have actually already changed IT and communications and where it's going. Also, what challenges this presents to our CIOs today, particularly for large global corporations, but also the fantastic opportunities it gives to become an enabler for growth. Nobody can do this by themselves. It's all about partnerships. It's all about finding your core capabilities and your strengths and working together to deliver these. And I strongly believe that global telecommunications providers have a major role to play in realizing the cloud and mobility transformation. And finally, I'd like to share with you some recent examples that we've seen from our customers, how our customers are embracing the technology and embracing these changes in the market to really drive new value into their business. So I really hope it's of interest, and at the end I'm very happy to open up and have some questions and make it a more of a dialogue. So Telefonica, hopefully most people are familiar with Telefonica, but whenever I see this slide, it always reminds me it's the third largest global telecom operator, the third largest in the world. And there's 313 million accesses to the network. That's on the fixed and the mobile network. So people on mobile phones and people on fixed lines in buildings and in their homes. Brands such as Vivo in Brazil, Movistar in Spain, and O2 across Europe are some of the brands in Telefonica Group. And we operate in 44 countries. 21 of those are full network operations. So they have full telco businesses selling broadband, mobile, VPNs, all those sorts of things, and data centers. And others are satellites and commercial businesses. But through extended partnerships, we have the coverage in 129 countries to deliver global networks. Revenue is around just under $90 billion. I think one of my colleagues told me a stat that I think we're number 82 in the Fortune 500. 126,000 employees. So basically, hopefully people, if you weren't familiar with Telefonica before, because I know that in the US we don't have as much presence, you appreciate now that it's a major global operator. From the split in terms of accesses and also in terms of employees, you can see that it's mainly concentrated in Europe. Around a third of the business is in Europe, and around 2/3 of it, or 60%, is in Latin America. But we also have a significant presence here in the US, and particularly here in Miami. So the Telefonica business is extremely strong in Europe and extremely strong in Latin America. So if you're a large US multinational and you have business and you have presence in Europe and in Latin America, then Telefonica is someone you should be speaking to do with IT and to do with communications. So we'll leave it there. I don't want to go on any more about Telefonica, but I think it's important for you to have an appreciation of the size of the company. And therefore, when I'm speaking to you now about the experiences that we see in IT and communications, they're not my experiences, they're experiences from across our business, from SMBs to consumers and to multinationals. So hopefully it's of interest. First of all, cloud is having a major impact on IT and communications. And we need to think of cloud. Cloud's not a new product. Cloud is a new way of delivering and consuming IT and communications. And if you have a look at the diagram, you'll see that when you move around the whole portfolio of ICT, every single area is impacted by cloud. Every single area you can now take as a service in an on-demand model, pay-per-use model. You can access anywhere without having CapEx investment. Things such as voice communications, for example, traditional communications, Again, you can have IP-based conferencing, cloud-based PBXs. Cloud is coming into even the most traditional voice. Even in devices, so desktops are becoming more and more virtualized, which again is a cloud technology. Communications and collaboration. The days of every company having their own exchange server and managing it all themselves in-house are fast going away. Cloud is now a real option for email, even for the largest multinationals. And of course, infrastructure. The days of everybody having to buy their own servers and have servers inside their own offices, again, has been going away for a long time now, but now it's being impacted even more by cloud and virtualization. So the bottom line is that ICT, every aspect of it, voice, data, IT, every area, businesses are demanding a bigger mix of cloud in all those areas. So fantastic opportunity, but also it creates major challenges for CIOs. And when we speak to CIOs in particular, the first reaction tends to be, oh, it's causing me lots of headaches, lots of challenges. You know, I know I have to embrace cloud. I know I have to start looking at new, more efficient ways of delivering my IT and communications, but I've got major challenges regarding my data. My data can't leave the country because of regulation, or my data can't leave the city because it's so sensitive, my business is scared it's going to get stolen. My applications, if I move them to cloud, will I get the right performance? Will I get the right availability? My employees are starting to be more and more mobile. How do I make sure that if I embrace mobility, my employees can access the applications they need when they want? And finally, if I do embrace cloud, how can I get the flexibility that I'm used to? I'm used to running my own IT. I'm used to, I can purpose the infrastructure that I need for a particular application. And I can purpose the communications that the business needs for a particular application. And I can buy it and I can size it for that use. But if I buy cloud, is it one size fits all, or do I still have the flexibility? And this is the major challenge, and this is something that needs to be overcome, because the benefits far outweigh the challenges. Clearly, the CIO can completely transform his position in the business from being more of a cost center to being an enabler of growth and really helping to create value. So the first key point that I believe, or the first key advantage is around improving the business itself, improving the competitiveness. So bringing new tools, new applications into the business, improving the information that you're giving to your salespeople, improving the presence, the worldwide marketing presence that you can give on your business on the world, is a big advantage that cloud and mobility technologies can give to a business. Second of all, of course, operating efficiency. So if you have the latest tools and the latest cloud applications for ERP and CRM and those sorts of things, and you embrace cloud technology for infrastructure and communications, you can reduce your operating costs, and you can get much faster time to service, and you can get much better efficiency in your business. Another key area is focus. So if you take away the focus of the business on investing CapEx in communications and PBXs and servers and having to upgrade software and hire whole teams of people to do it, you can take those precious resources and focus them on your business. So I think clearly the benefits of embracing the transformation from cloud and mobility in a business far outweigh the costs. And this is something we see more and more. You know, a few years ago, the costs and the challenges, I think, were a big roadblock and a big hindrance to people embracing mobility and embracing cloud. But now, because it's become mainstream and because prices have come down and people are getting much more used to it, everybody that I speak to, every enterprise and every service provider I speak to, is embracing it in one way or another. So from my view, it's a question of time. It's happening now, and it's a question of time and how fast your business will adopt it. So how do we overcome these challenges? How does the CIO overcome these major challenges? If, for example, they have to roll out a brand new CRM application, or they have to roll out a brand new database application, how do they overcome the issues of data security and data privacy and regulation and these sorts of things? You need to have a mix. You need to have different kinds of infrastructure available to you. You need to have local infrastructure in your country, in your city, that you can put those critical applications in that you don't want to, you have to know where the data is, you have to know where they're operated from, you want access to those applications physically. So you need to have some options for local infrastructure. But of course, there's other applications that you don't need that. Particularly web applications, e-commerce applications, applications that the data is much lower risk. You want to embrace the globalization. You don't care where your data is. You really want your data to be everywhere because you want everyone to be able to access it fast. And so local infrastructure doesn't matter so much. But at the end of the day, you want to have still the same control over the performance and the quality of the service. So you need to have global data centers, local data centers, but all under the same management and control of your IT organization. But of course, it's fantastic to have a great data center. It's fantastic to have your applications running on the best infrastructure. But it's still not good enough if you can't control the quality once those bits and bytes leave the data center. You need to have the same kind of control over your network also. So you need to have a combination of local network infrastructure, fixed network infrastructure if you're connecting your sites, of course, but then mobile network infrastructure is becoming more and more important because everybody in the business wants to access every application from wherever they are. People don't want to be stuck coming into work. So even those critical applications now that everybody is so protective over need to have a way of being accessed remotely, being accessed on the move. So mobility and mobile network security is extremely important. And you can't rely on using Wi-Fi networks wherever people are without the security that they come with. And then finally, almost every business today is embracing globalization. So you need to have a network that enables your employees to go global and to roam and get the same kind of access to applications that they do when they're in the country and they're in their office. So infrastructure and network are extremely important, and you need to make sure that you have the right kind of infrastructure, the right kind of network to meet the issues that you face. So the security, the performance, the availability, and the mobility factors you need to weigh out. It may well be that having a totally global infrastructure, not knowing where the data is, not worrying about the network is fine because your application is so low risk, but it may well be the opposite case. So it's very important to have both. In terms of the infrastructure services themselves, though, again, it's not one size fits all. So we strongly see more and more the concept of hybrid infrastructure happening, especially with large enterprise and multinational. So you still have in large enterprises the need to manage and maintain legacy applications, bespoke applications, ones that need to run on their own dedicated hardware, or even ones that the IT department of the business themselves has to manage and operate because it's custom developed. In which case you need to have the traditional data center services, the co-location services, or even the managed hosting services. They definitely haven't gone away, and we definitely see a huge percentage of infrastructure services still are on traditional co-location, traditional hosting. But then more and more, particularly to do with new applications, the ones that are mission critical, people are embracing cloud, but on a private basis. So having virtualized infrastructure on a dedicated network with full security is now becoming a very, very well accepted way of delivering mission critical applications on an outsourced basis. And then as you move down the stack, when you start coming to public websites, information websites, content that you want to distribute across the world, public cloud has a fantastic place to play, especially when it comes to new digital workloads that are the perfectly optimized for cloud. Sorry, I just had a flash. So hybrid infrastructure is extremely important as well. So you have the network, you have the data center, you know where it is, you have the hybrid infrastructure. So you have the ability, the CIO has the ability to now understand what's best for my application as far as data center location, as far as network, and as far as infrastructure option goes. But there's still a great deal more to do before you actually realize the value from a solution. And this is just an example I'd like to share with you that we see happening more and more in the market, and that's workforce mobilization, enterprise mobility. So enterprise mobility, effectively, businesses want to increase productivity by making their workers, or allowing their workers, to work more when they're outside the office, when they're on their free time, when they're on the weekend. So they want to give their employees tablets and smartphones, and they want to put apps on those tablets and smartphones to enable them to access work. not just email, but HR systems, internal systems, pricing systems, CRM systems. Basically, the more applications that businesses can put on those iPads and tablets, the more the employee is going to work. And this is where we are. I'm not saying it's a positive thing for society, but this is where we are as far as business goes. And so in order to achieve this, there's multiple things that need to be in place. First of all, you need to secure the actual devices and the connections, the connectivity, and the data on the devices. Because you can't give your employees iPads and have them leave them on the train, and suddenly your sales database gets stolen by somebody. So you need to have a way of remotely locking down a device, tracking where it is, putting an alarm on it, wiping it. This is the first step in any kind of enterprise mobility strategy. Second of all, you need to put applications on those devices. So you need to take the precious corporate applications, not put them out there on public app stores, because effectively those are doorways into your business. And you need to have a secure way of putting them onto employees' devices. And private app stores, enterprise app stores are the solution and becoming more and more prevalent. And thirdly, once you've put you've got the devices secure, you've got applications on them, you want to give more and more access to the back-end IT systems. So you need mobility gateways and you need app development platforms to help to create more applications and let employees do more work when they're on the move and on the road. And then, of course, you need to run this somewhere. So you need to choose the right infrastructure. You need to, whether it's global, whether it's local, whether the apps you're putting on devices are so sensitive you don't want them to be on the public domain. You need to choose the right data center and the right network. So I think what's absolutely clear is the value of having the solution in place and the value of being able to put more and more corporate applications on devices is clear. But there's a lot of challenges and a lot of steps that you need to go through to do it properly and to really see the rewards. And this is just a very good example of the fact that partnerships are key. And this is just a picture of Telefonica's capability. So again, as I mentioned before, Telefonica has a very, very rich infrastructure and network capability, especially in Latin America and Europe, and in Miami and across the US as a gateway into Latin America and Europe. So if you're a business in the US, multinational, large enterprise, and you have significant presence in Latin America or in Europe, and you want to employ disaster recovery, enterprise mobility, any kind of solution that needs a network and infrastructure, then Telefonica would be a great partner for you to address. In terms of infrastructure services, again, Telefonica has a very deep history and long history in infrastructure. So in the 90s, they started with developing the first data centers with colocation and traditional services. In 2000, with the dot-com explosion, Telefonica saw the opportunity and built the Miami Key Center. The Miami Key Center is a fantastic place. I was actually there today. It's 173,500 square feet. And my colleagues take pride in telling me it's 2 football fields, one on top of the other. And it's very impressive. And it's a Category 5 data center, which means it's very, very low risk for natural disasters. So this was really built to take advantage of the dot-com explosion and to act as a gateway for dot-com and web businesses in the US to get out into Europe and get out into Latin America. So together with the data center, they also invested very heavily in a network, in undersea cables around the whole of Latin America and to Europe, making sure that Miami really was the gateway into Europe and Latin America. And then since then, we've been deploying cloud services, so virtual hosting, which is private cloud, or enterprise cloud, private cloud solutions in 6 countries. We've got 2 Tier 4 data centers, one of them in Sao Paulo, the Vivo data center, we're the biggest in Latin America, and the other one in Spain. So the Alcalá data center, again, is Tier 4, and it's one of the biggest data centers in Europe. And we just launched in 2012 the first public cloud offering from Telefonica. So we partnered with a company called Joyent Technologies because we did a deep assessment of the market technologies and concluded that Joyent, the Joyent engine behind a public cloud, gives you more than just public cloud services. The performance, especially for new digital applications, for web and for mobile applications, is superior to many of the major public cloud operators in the market today. So what this enables you to do is use public cloud for more than just commodity, low-risk services. You can actually reach up and put your mission-critical commercial, e-commerce, web applications on it with confidence. So today, the Instance Servers is launched in London and in Spain. And very soon, we're actually launching a node in Miami as well. So Instance Servers will be available globally in 3 countries via the web. Partnerships, as I mentioned, nobody can deliver the end-to-end solution that corporates need. You need partnerships, you need to have the best of breed. Telefonica is fantastic when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to network capabilities, but we need partnerships to help us with the other pieces. So, for example, systems integration, transformations, migrations, even reach and relationships, customer relationships. A lot of partners have specialities in vertical industries and understand them deeply, and Telefonica would welcome partnerships in those areas as well. We've just launched the Telefonica Channel Partner Program. We've had people visiting our data center this morning, and we've got things happening later on today as well, and tomorrow. And so we welcome discussions with anybody who's interested in partnering, anybody who particularly has business in Europe and in Latin America that we can help with. I'd like to finish off with giving you some real-life examples of what our customers are asking us to help them with to do with IT and communications. The first is an example of how you combine network and infrastructure, and the example of how we can help companies in Latin America. So Banco Pichincha is your largest private bank in Ecuador. They've got 307 branch offices and subsidiaries in Peru, Colombia, Panama, Miami, Spain. And what they were looking for a network that could help them to deliver their applications with the performance they need and security they need around their footprint, but also they were looking for disaster recovery and data center sites in the US and also in Latin America. And so based on our footprint and based on our capability, we provided them with an MPLS network connecting all their nodes, and we also provided them with the Miami Key Center and a data center in Quito to help them to realize this. So they've consolidated a lot of their applications, and they're leveraging networking and infrastructure consolidation to achieve lots of efficiencies. So this is more of a classic example of how global network and global infrastructure are key to realizing the advantages of cloud technologies. The next case is a great case, and this is a great example of how you need to have multiple flavors of infrastructure to suit customers' needs. You can't just have one, and you need to be able to map it to their needs. Vocento is a leading multimedia group in Spain. They're into news, they're into entertainment, they're into content, and they have a massive web presence. And Vocento wanted to consolidate and optimize their web presence and the delivery of their web services to their customers. And also, they wanted to use the same exercise to get more efficiency with their internal applications, with their email and their management applications. And so we delivered for Vocento a hybrid cloud service. And what this was first of all, a private IaaS service, private infrastructure as a service offering with 2 sites in Spain for resilience. And that was for their core applications. And then we enabled them to burst into public cloud whenever the peak demand occurred for their web presence. So this is the classic example of a great use case where you combine private cloud technology with public cloud technology to get the best of breed for a customer and enable the customer to optimize their costs and performance, but still give the same kind of service that their customers need. On top of that, we provided them with SAN and NAS services and also managed security to make sure that they didn't have any risks associated with this new model. And finally, enterprise mobility. So enterprise mobility, I think, has been talked about for a long time, but it's really coming to fruition, and businesses are really adopting it in an accelerated way. And this is a great example that I've just seen. This is one of the latest ones. Unfortunately, I can't mention the name of the public sector organization that we're working with, but it's a major one in the UK. And they see the advantage of putting applications onto smartphones and tablets for their employees, but also for their partners and their customers. And so we're delivering for them an enterprise mobility solution where we deliver the first tranche of 400 plus apps with access into their back-end IT systems, creating composite apps from multiple back-end IT systems into applications on tablets and smartphones, so that their employees can access more information about the timetables and about their jobs and about the service that they need to give to their customers, and customers can access more information as well about the services that they want from the public sector organization. 10,000 iPhones and 3,000 iPads in the first project phase. And this is all possible because of combining best-of-breed technology and partnerships. So Telefonica is using our instant service platform, which is the public cloud service plus that I talked about through joint technology in London and Madrid for resilience. And also we're delivering an enterprise mobility platform partnering with best-of-breed vendors such as Mobileye and Afaria for the device management and security, and a company called Feed Henry, which has a fantastic mobile enterprise application platform. And that ensures secure delivery of apps and also a great platform to develop new apps for the business. And it's just great to see these things that people have been talking about for such a long time actually coming to fruition and actually being rolled out and adding value to business and to people. So to conclude, I clearly see that cloud and mobility have changed the face of IT. And it's continuing to change the face of IT in more and more ways. And yes, it does create significant challenges for CIOs. CIOs need to worry about data security and global coverage and how the applications perform. But I firmly believe, and Telefonica firmly believes, that the opportunity to become an enabler for business growth for the CIO far outweighs the challenges. And the challenges can be easily overcome by joining with the right partners and finding the right capabilities. The solutions are there, the solutions have been addressed many times, and the challenges can easily be dealt with. Partnerships are key. So we need to make sure that we do this together and we join forces and we use we leverage our strong capabilities together. And finally, we strongly see Telefonica as a global enabler for this. We know where we're strong. We have the infrastructure, we have the network, and we have integration capability. And we have the footprint in Latin America and in Europe and in the US. And so we are a great partner for people and for vendors to go and deliver end-to-end solutions for customers to really embrace and leverage this new mobility and cloud explosion. So with that, thank you very much for your time. I very much appreciate it. I'm not sure if we have a few minutes for some questions. I haven't had a flash on the screen telling me to get off yet, so hopefully we do.
Yeah, I have a question.
Hi.
Yeah, my name is Carl Torup. My company is Local Loop. This was a great presentation, and you painted a real nice vision here for the future. What I did miss, though, and you avoided that topic, is how are you going to cope with the tremendous capacity growth that if you realize this vision, you have to deal with? Where are you in terms of 4G development? How many subscribers do you have today worldwide?
How many subscribers do we have on 4G or in total?
Yeah, 4G.
4G is being looked at and rolled out in different phases, and we're at the mercy of the regulators in each country. So, for example, in the UK, it's just starting to happen now. We're having the auctions, but O2 and Telefonica will absolutely be there. I mean, in terms of 4G is absolutely on the strategy and absolutely a key area of development and rollout for Telefonica. I don't have, on my fingertips the rollout plans and the dates, but if you want to come and speak to me in a minute after we finish, I can find that out for you. But I agree. We need to move to something like 4G if we're really going to be able to deliver the promise of all these great things. Thank you. I have 1 minute left. No more questions? Oh, there's one. Pardon me?
Hi, I'm Doug Pelton from EasyRTC. We're in the WebRTC space, and I know there's a few questions here about WebRTC. Did you guys buy out a company, OpenTalk? Is that right?
OpenTalk?
Yeah.
I'm not aware of it.
You're not aware of it?
But
Okay.
I mean, as you saw on there, Telefonica is a massive company, so
Yes, yeah.
we
sure.
could well have. What country is OpenTalk based in?
In the United States.
In the US.
Yeah, it'd be emerging. So.
Again, I mean,
Okay.
I'll take your details and I can let you know, but I'll be interested to find out that as well.
Okay, thanks.
I know Telefonica does have a very aggressive investment, especially in Telefonica Digital. The Telefonica Digital, the business that I'm in now, is responsible for finding the new growth areas, the new investment areas. And so we're very active on the West Coast. We're very active in M&A. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was a stake taken in a company, but I don't know whether OpenTalk is one of them.
Okay, thanks.
Great. All right. Last one. Okay, well, if there's no more questions, then thank you very much for your time and look forward to speaking to you during the show. Thank you.